What technology would aliens require to get to Earth? The asteroid Oumuamua, which came from beyond the solar system and not from any part of it, was an extraterrestrial object that entered our solar system in 2017. It was an extrasolar interstellar object that originated from another star system. Some researchers, including renowned particle physicist Stephen Hawking, began to believe that this asteroid was nothing more or less than an alien spacecraft that was passing through our solar system. But when the telescopes and radio telescopes were pointed at the extraterrestrial object to analyze it more closely, we discovered that it was simply an inert rock, lifeless, and did not produce any unusual signals. It was, in other words, exactly like a typical asteroid. Oumuamua left the sun's gravitational pull a few days after entering our solar system and continued on its lonely course through space. Even if it was merely an asteroid in this instance, many scientists do not discount the possibility that it was an extraterrestrial spaceship at some point in the future. Advanced interstellar travel technologies. Because of the limitations of our technology, humanity is unable to visit other stars. 1. Chlorine fuel. We employ solid or liquid fuel created from substances found on the ground to power the rockets we use to leave the planet. Typically, an enormous amount of fuel that weighs a lot is needed for a rocket to leave the planet. The fuel a spaceship uses to leave the planet accounts for 80% of its overall weight. We could travel to the moon and the nearest planets with those kinds of vehicles. However, because it is quickly depleted and cannot be recovered once used, we could not use it to reach the stars. Because of this, we may assert that aliens don't use chemical fuels similar to what humans use in spacecraft. Which technologies would be required for aliens to reach Earth? 2. Help with gravitation. The Parker probe, which was designed to investigate the sun and clocked in at 150 kilometers per second, is the fastest spacecraft ever built by humans. To give you an idea of how fast that is, you could go from the Earth to the moon in less than an hour or just 4.5 minutes around the circumference of the planet. The Parker probe was assisted by the Sol's gravitational pull rather than any fuel to attain this incredible speed. As the name suggests, gravitational aid entails using a celestial body's gravitational field to propel humans. Keep in mind that spacecraft can be both accelerated and slowed down by gravity. Unfortunately, the distances in the universe are great, and even at this ship's speed, it would take thousands of years to reach the nearest star. The gravitational assist is the only technique that allows us to attain such high speeds. This approach only works within the solar system. Once outside, you are on your own. Since there is no celestial body with which to launch yourself, extraterrestrials will not choose this approach to reach Earth, hence it is abandoned. 3. Nuclear pulse propulsion. The Manhattan Project participant and particle physicist Stanislaw Marcin Ulam developed the novel Project Orion in 1946 with the goal of developing a spacecraft that could travel at extremely high speeds using nuclear energy. The Orion project involved creating a groundbreaking vessel with cabins near to the vacuum where several miniature nuclear bombs would be detonated one at a time for a brief period of time. It is known as nuclear propulsion repulse for this reason. The explosives are detonated, producing successively smaller bursts of thrust until the ship reaches relativistic speeds. Note, it is thought that relativistic velocity is a percentage that is very close to the speed of light. The spacecraft would receive such a powerful boost from the nuclear explosion energy that, in a few years, it would be able to travel at a speed of around 30,000 kilometers per second, or 1/10 of the speed of light. By using this method, it would be feasible to travel to Proxima Centauri, the star that is nearest to Earth, in just 40 years, which is a much more acceptable amount of time than the thousands of years it would require with traditional ships. The Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton claims that the technology is presently available to create something similar. The unfortunate conclusion of this endeavor in the middle of the 20th century was the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Pact, TPPEN, of 1963 and the widespread fear of nuclear weapons. pulsed nuclear propulsion would undoubtedly be one of the first methods used by extraterrestrials to travel between stars if they did not share our social issues or laws prohibiting them from conducting nuclear testing. However, due to the extremely restricted number of nuclear explosions that the spacecraft could carry out, they would only be able to go to stars close to their solar system. This would be a relatively short distance given that our galaxy, the Milky Way, is more than 100,000 light-years across. The aliens would need to use a kind of technology that is more advanced than what humans have so far achieved in order to go beyond the stars close to their solar system. 4. Antimatter and antimatter engine would be the first of these innovations. As the name suggests, antimatter is matter with charges that are the opposite of those of regular matter. That instance, if you have a negatively charged electron, an anti-electron would be the reverse of what we know an electron to be, an electron with a positive charge. It is feasible to create antimatter in particle accelerators like the well-known Large Hadron Collider, LHC, run by the European Centre for Nuclear Research, CERN, which is in charge of creating antimatter particles by fusing elementary particles at the speed of light. Antimatter is fascinating because it self-destructs when it comes into touch with matter, liberating a lot of energy in the process. In its more than 10 years of operation, the LHC has yet to yield even a single gram of antimatter. Imagine, though, if it were to become the norm one day. If so, 1 gram of stabilized, regulated, and controlled antimatter may generate enough energy to run a city like New York for a number of years. Dr. Gerald Smith of Pennsylvania State University claims that if an engine could capture the energy created when matter and antimatter interact, it would only take 1 microgram of antimatter to travel to the Oort cloud, the solar system's furthest region. While only a few kilos would be needed to travel to the nearest stars, several tons would be required to travel to stars more than 100 light-years away. Without a doubt, antimatter is the best fuel for interstellar travel within the galaxy. Unfortunately, humans have not yet developed the ability to produce this substance in large quantities. However, if extraterrestrial life takes us into account and gives us at least 1,000 years of advantage, then for them, it is already a reality and may even be their preferred method of propulsion. The fact that they will end up in a different galaxy will be the only drawback for them. We've looked at the technology that an alien culture could use to travel to Earth from any star in the galaxy up to this point, but what about aliens that won't be found in the Milky Way? Consider a civilization that is 10,000 years or more sophisticated than our own. It may exist in another galaxy, such as the spiral galaxy M31, also known as Andromeda. The inconvenience of the vast, more than 2.5 million light-years, gap between their galaxy and ours would prevent an extraterrestrial civilization from visiting Earth. This means that even a ship traveling at the speed of light would take more than 2.5 million years to get to Earth. This is just too long, and it is likely that they will have to use technology that, up until this point, were only a part of our collective imagination. 5. Warp speed. You rapidly grasp this since warp speed is the first of these technologies. The renowned Star Trek television series was where this concept was originally introduced. In order to travel faster than light, the Enterprise spacecraft has a curved displacement motor. Miguel Alcubierre, a physicist from Mexico, was the first to describe how this theoretical warp system design might function. He suggests a theoretical model that does not violate Albert Einstein's equation of special relativity. In this hypothetical scenario, a bubble of warped space would surround the spacecraft. Space-time would move in the opposite direction behind the ship, leaving the originating point in its wake. Space-time would be compressed in front of the spacecraft by bringing the final destination point closer and closer. The ship would travel freely within a space-time bubble in this manner. However, the movement would not be caused by the ship itself, but rather by the space that the ship was trapped in. In space, nothing can move more quickly than light. However, because of the fact that light cannot travel across space, the spacecraft may achieve superluminic speeds of up to 80 million kilometers per second. With that speed, it would take us just 3 days to travel from the Sun to the star Proxima Centauri. Unfortunately, for the time being, this technology is completely beyond the capabilities of humans. There are still many aspects of space-time that we do not fully understand, and even physicist Miguel Alcubierre admits that the warp engine requires a vast amount of exotic matter, a type of fundamental matter that is rare in the universe, in order to be built. Could aliens find a solution and build their own Star Trek-style craft? If so, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for them to come visit us in the future. However, if they are a race that is 1 million years more advanced than we are, they might not need to travel at warp speed. 6. Wormholes. Wormholes are holes in the fabric of space-time that link two locations in the cosmos. These act as portals that allow users to instantly go from one location to another, regardless of where they are in the universe. No gasoline, no engines, just an immediate entrance and leave from one location to another, very far away. Is it too wonderful to be true? Yes, you are correct. Wormholes are well known in science fiction films like Interstellar, but in actuality, they only exist in mathematical models. Although there is no proof that these objects exist as of yet, this does not mean that they will never do so. Many researchers in the field of particle physics believe that there may be micro-wormholes, or tiny gaps in space-time that open and close in fractions of a second, in the quantum foam where matter is found at the subatomic level. If an alien race far more advanced than our own could make one of these gaps larger and remain open for a longer period of time, it may be possible but for the time being, everything is still a fantasy. We have no idea what aliens are like or what technologies they would use to come to Earth. Let's just hope that whatever they utilize will bring peace. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.